Hey YouTube, it's Petey Two Finger, and I just saw this popped up on my Facebook. The Hughes and Kenter Spirit of Metal 25 watt nano amp. So this is a mini amp. It's got this power supply. It's 25 watts. Got a vintage, a rock, and a metal. Tube amp emulation without digital modeling. So this tells me it's this. They call it a bionic spirit tone generator. Sagging control. So that's the amount of current that goes to the preamp. Unfiltered line out is tailor-made for software-based cabinet IRs. What does that mean? Or it can power a full-size 4x12. So yeah, is this a Class D? I don't know. It seems odd to me. Oh look, they have some sort of LED. Is that the bionic part that makes it the LEDs that they put in there? Anyway, it's just interesting to me. 24 volt power supply. Has this external wall wart. So you're going to see more of this type of stuff. Is it Class D? I don't know. It seems to me if it was 24 volt power supply in Class D, it would be rated a little higher. So I'm not exactly sure. I'm sure it sounds fantastic. This company is known to make really good sounding stuff. So this is just neat. It's a neat product that came out. Anything that doesn't use vacuum tubes to me is neat. Because it's safe, it runs off of lower voltages. It's not a hassle. You're not constantly having to have it biased and service the tubes. There's less heat. It's way more efficient. And you maybe could even run it off of batteries. So yeah, they got the Spirit of Metal, Spirit of Rock, Spirit of Vintage, Rock, and Metal. So yeah, I'm going to have to check this video out. But yeah. Hughes and Kenter, there's the Class D thing, the TPA 3116D2 amp board that I use when I build my amps. It's rated at 100 watts, and I pay between $5 and $10 for that amp board. And it takes a 24 volt. I typically run mine off of a 5 amp. Try to give a little bit more power than 2 amp, but I've seen some of this stuff that's lower amperage, And maybe that's why they're just rating it at what it is. So maybe it is the same chip. It's kind of a fair price. I mean, I can build something like this. I'm actually building something just like this with the Run Off Groove is the name of the website who developed this circuit, which is called the Thunderbird, and that is a Marshall Super Lead preamp. Instead of tubes, they've substituted for JFETs, which is a type of transistor that on paper behaves similarly to how a vacuum tube behaves. And I would be willing to bet that's what's in this design, that it's a JFET front-end, JFET preamp of their own design with a Class D amplifier. So the Thunderbird is a Marshall Super Lead. It has a lot of gain. It's a very good sounding circuit that it uses JFET op amp, and I'm going to be putting one of those together. It runs off of 24 volts high headroom device and coupling that with this Class D power amp. So you can look forward to that on this channel. I built an amp last year that was very similar to that, although it was called a PAL M80 or M800, I think. It's a JCM 800 preamp, and that really sounds good. That amp it's in a much bigger box because I put a spring reverb tank in it along with the spring reverb tank driver circuit, and that amp just sounds fantastic. It's the best guitar amp I ever built as far as its tone of like just plugging straight cable. No effects or anything, and man, does it sound good. So this Thunderbird is an attempt to make an amp that has higher gain, more distortion on it, and I may end up even building in a a noise gate. If it's a little noisy, I'll probably build the noise gate in, just so I won't have to use a noise gate with it. Anyway, yeah, that's what I'm working on, and this popped up today, and I thought it might be interesting to some of you guys. I have to definitely check this video out. So I'll talk to you soon.